Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I'm here with my full review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. Of course, this just came out on Friday. I got mine a couple days early because I ordered it through Samsung directly and they shipped it straight to my house. I got it 2 days early, so that was cool. So I've had a couple days and I wanted to go ahead and do my full review video. So, of course, the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 is probably the most anticipated Android device of the year. Not only does it have the flagship specs. It has the best processor, the most memory in any mainstream phone available in the United States. But you also get the S Pen, which is the cool stylus, which of course now has Bluetooth connectivity and even enhances the abilities of the S Pen when using the device. So before I get too much into this, I'll go ahead and run down the specs. What you're looking at here is, of course, the 6.4-inch Super AMOLED panel that this device has. It's rated at Quad HD Plus, which is not 4K. 4K is 1080p times 4, so it's 4 times the amount of pixels that you get in 1080p. Quad HD Plus is actually 4 times the amount of pixels that you would get in 720p. So, and I think that's more applicable to smartphones just because you have a smaller panel size. I mean, you're not talking about a 50-inch TV, we're talking about a 6-inch screen. It has 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of onboard storage, but if you get the upgraded model for an extra $250, you can get 512 gigabytes of storage and 8 gigs of RAM. I don't really think that that's necessary, especially when you're already spending $1,000 just to get your foot in the door with the Note 9, but there are some people that might work for. And really, when it comes to storage, I was recording this video and I had to start over because I ran out of storage on my LG G7, which has 64 gigabytes of RAM, of memory, storage space. So I had to delete stuff so I could make this video. 128 gigs with the onset of the 4K video recording and all that other stuff, it really eats into your ability to record as much as you want on your phone. The pictures, they are higher quality, more megabytes, but really the storage space is ample. But of course it has external SD card support as well, so you can toss one of those in there. Or if you want to get the 128 gig model, save yourself the money on not getting the upgraded model, you can put the SD card in there. It's got a 4,000 milliamp battery, which is just phenomenal. This phone lasts all day. You don't have to worry about charging it. If you do need to charge it, it has quick charge with the USB-C connector. It has wireless charging, which both work very well. And I have not been able to kill it trying to use it in a single day. I unplug it about 6 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, I've still got at least 30, sometimes even closer to 40% of my battery left, which is just unreal because I have the resolution turned all the way up. I have the brightness turned all the way up. I am not trying to save power with this device at all because it's meant to be a powerhouse. It is the powerhouse in the Android world. You have dual 12 megapixel cameras, one with the automatic adjustable rear aperture. So it bounces back and forth between 1.5 millimeters and 2.4 millimeters. It has optical image stabilization. The second 12 megapixel camera has a 2 times optical zoom, which is just amazing because whenever it comes to zooming in on things and you have the electronic zoom, yeah, you get a loss of clarity. It gets more pixelated, especially the further you zoom in. So having that optical zoom is just fantastic, especially built into a phone. You get 4K video recording up to 60 frames per second, 1080p at 240 frames per second, and you can do the slow-mo at 960 frames per second on 720p. And there's been a lot of demonstrations out there that show that off really well. It's got 8 megapixel front-facing camera, and it has everything you could possibly ask for. And you look into biometrics, you've got facial recognition, you've got retinal scanning in there, and you can combine the two so you can get the most security out of it. And you can use retinal and facial recognition together. You still have the fingerprint sensor. You can use the pattern of the pin if you want. You got the biosensor on the back, is what I like to call it, that you can use. You can check your heart rate. It's got the built-in pedometer. You can check your oxygen saturation. So those are really nifty things that you have. And of course, you have Samsung Pay 2, which uses the magnetic signature that it emits, so you can use it with any standard card swipe versus using NFC connection for Android Pay, or if you have an Apple, using Apple Pay. So having gone through that list, you can see that it really has everything. And on top of that, the icing on the cake, you have the S Pen, which is the stylus that goes along with it. Now, the cool thing about this one is they went ahead and color-coded the styluses with the exception of the blue one, which is what I have. You get a yellow stylus. Now, the S Pen They improved the functionality on it this year because it has a Bluetooth connectivity as well. So the button that is on the S Pen allows you to do things. You can customize it. You can have it play, stop music, have it skip music by default. You can have it open up the camera. You can take a picture with one press. With the double click, you can have it switch to selfie mode. So it makes it really nice whenever you want to set the phone somewhere and take a picture, or you want to take a selfie, and not necessarily have your hand up there uh, trying to press the button on the phone. You can have your S Pen in the pocket and just press the little button and go ahead and take a picture. And the stylus recharges so quickly too. I believe it's like on a 5-minute charge, you get like 40 minutes out of it. So don't quote me on those numbers. I just remember it from the display and looking at it briefly. So is this phone worth $999, or for the upgraded model, $1,249? I've been trying to wrap my head around this for the last couple of days because, on good conscience, I really can't recommend anyone go out and spend $1,000 on a phone when you can get another phone that is 99%, 95% identical. Like in the S9 Plus, you're talking about $800 versus $999. It's a significant difference, especially for some people. Of course, there are other phones that you can get as well. You can get the OnePlus 6. You can get the LG G7, which is running the same processor in it. There are other differences as well, which I'll get into later because I'm going to do a comparison video between this and the LG G7. And then you have Bixby. Love it, like it, leave it, however you want it. I'm not a Bixby fan. And I think that's one of the biggest downfalls with the Samsung phone, is because instead of just going ahead and adopting the Google Assistant, they try to be different, and they have Bixby. Bixby was kind of a tank, kind of a wash, if you will, whenever they first released it on the S8. It didn't improve a whole lot between the S8 and the S9, and then now we have it here, Oreo 8.1, running on the Note. I still don't find that it's any better, and from what I was reading, I don't even think you can disable it anymore. So I'm not crazy about Bixby, and I use Google Assistant on my other phones. So if you're going to go through the trouble of making someone use your own artificial intelligence assistant and building its own button in, you should make sure that it's as good as everything else. But back to, is it worth it? I have been pretty much impressed for the last 4 days that I've been using this, at every turn. And if you want it, it's going to be worth every dollar to you. If you're looking for another phone that gives you much of the same performance, the same specs, there are several other options that you can get that will save you money in your pocketbook and will legitimately give you probably 90% of the same experience. But you also get the, I guess, a status symbol going along with it well, because you have the most expensive phone, and someone sees it, they know, hey, you got a Note 9 that costs a chunk of change. Now, as far as the device goes, I have not found a way to slow it down yet. I've tried running multiple games, I've tried severe multitasking, and for the longest time, there was always compromises whenever it came to devices. Typically, the compromises were thrown out the window at each iteration of the new technology cycle whenever it came to the Note, because it's an improvement over the regular flagship model, the S series, and then they refined some things. Well, this one, I think we're finally pretty much at the saturation point on maximum performance with what we have available in technology in our phones today. And there are, honestly, there are no compromises with this phone on performance, on camera, on video, on sound. The sound is phenomenal. You get the speaker on the bottom. The handset also doubles as a second speaker, so you get that full immersive stereo sound. It sounds amazing. The volume's great. You get the amazing color saturation that the Super AMOLED display gives you on this phone. You get the largest screen that you can get in a normal Android phone that's mainstream, so 6.4 inches. It's curved. It's got the glass, Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back, and it's just a gorgeous device. Now, I wish that the copper one would have been available in the US. I would have bought that one because I am in love with that color. But with the lavender purple and the blue that you can get, those are two solid options, and there's the black one as well if you can get your hands on it. So I wish they would do a little bit more in the color department, but overall, it's an amazing device. Um, I would recommend when you start it up, get a different keyboard, because the Samsung keyboard, it's okay, but I stick to Gboard myself. Um, the camera interface is phenomenal. So you look up here up top and you've got panorama, you've got pro mode, where pro mode, if you really care a lot about trying to take the best picture possible, you can adjust everything on here and get the best possible pictures that you can imagine. Live focus, you've got that as well, so you can focus it in on an object that's in front of you. You get auto, you get super slow-mo, AR emoji, and then the hyperlapse as well. So all the bells and whistles when it comes to the camera. I typically just leave mine on auto mode because straight out of the box, all you have to do is hit the shutter on here and it takes really, really good pictures. And that's one of the things that's always drawn me into the Samsung phones, especially the Note, is the camera. And I do a lot of recording. I'm recording this with my LG G7, but it's just a night and day difference whenever you take pictures, whenever you shoot video. They're both very good. The wide lens that they have on the LG G7 is really nice, and it's a nice addition to have versus a regular camera. But the point and click is just, there's nothing like it. I even had the iPhone 10 before, and you can't beat the camera on this or the S9 Plus. I mean, it's the same cameras. So you've got that going for you as well. I really, really think that if you want this phone, then it's going to be the phone that you're going to carry for, of course, at least a year. And I thought moving up from the Note 8 and then going to the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus and the S9, they were slightly underwhelming from the S8 because it was, 95% of the same performance. And I had the S9 Plus, and I was like, this is just the S8 Plus in a different color. I wish I just kept my S8 Plus. But between the Note 8, I wasn't really impressed with the Note 8 because the Note 8 felt to me just like the S8 or even the S9 that came out after it. And this one, even though there's not much difference in the spec department, I have thoroughly enjoyed using this device, and I've tried to find ways to talk myself out of liking it or not recommending it, and I really can't find any at all. Other than if you just don't use the stylus. And if you don't use the stylus, the ergonomics on it, the screen, it's just such a good phone. So I've been trying to find bad things to say about it, and I can't. And that's really hard for me to do and say with the device because typically I can nitpick. And the only thing I can nitpick on is the price. So if you're not concerned about forking out a couple $100s for a down payment to get a device, or you just want to finance it outright through Samsung, or you're going to trade something in, if you can get one of the trade-in deals, it's great because you can lower the price down. Costco had some good deals. I think Best Buy has a deal. T-Mobile, you can trade in and you get up to, I think it's like half off if you trade in a recent, like a S9, S9 Plus, or maybe an S8 Plus model. I haven't looked at the fine print on those, but there are ways that you can get it that you can alleviate some of the price concern. And if you pre-ordered it, then of course the options were available there to get the headset, or if you're Fortnite, this is the Fortnite phone. Samsung got the exclusive on the Android release when it came out with this device, so if you're interested in playing Fortnite on your mobile device and you want it on Android, this is it. They even have the special heat dissipation inside there with the cooling, so it can uh, take care of some of the excess heat that's produced whenever this thing's running at 100% capacity to give you the performance that you want to play Fortnite or any other high intensity games. So that's really about all I have for the phone. I went through the specs. I'm going to post some pictures on Instagram as I take some more of them. I've been going through a lot of the reviews the last couple of days, and I had work, so I couldn't take a lot of pictures, but I'm going to post those on Instagram. I'll drop the link in the drop down section. But if you wanted me to talk you out of buying this phone, if you really want it, I don't think there's a way that I can do it. If you want something that's more economical, then I would say don't buy it. And if you want something that's 90% the same performance, you can get the S9 or the S9 Plus. Now, the S9 Plus is going to be more on par with this because, of course, it has a 6 gigabytes of RAM and it has 64 gigabytes of storage. But you can upgrade the storage and get it on par very inexpensively, especially nowadays with the large capacity SD cards. So this is it. This is the premier flagship Samsung phone, and I would say even Android phone. And probably, as the title indicates, the perfect Android phone because not only does it do everything, it does everything that all of the other competitors do, minus that wide lens, but you also get the stylus, which I'll go ahead and show you that real quick and escape my mind for a minute. So as soon as you pull the stylus out, you have the little dial here that you have all the different options. You can create notes, view all notes, smart select, screen write, which is cool. It'll take a screenshot. You can squiggle on it. Live message, you can draw little pictures, and it sends them to people and shows the drawing as it occurs. Translate text, pin up, so you can do drawings and sketches, which is really cool. And then here we go. There's the button right there. So I'll go ahead and hold the button down. It's going to pull up the camera, and then my finger is covering that. So we'll go ahead and take a picture. You press the button once, you get the picture there. Now you press it twice. It's going to flip it around to selfie mode. Ta-da! Press it again. There's the picture. Double press, flip back around. So yeah, that's just some of the cool stuff that this stylus can do. And you don't want to see any of my stick figure artwork. It's just not good. So as far as productivity, the best you can get. As far as gaming, the best you can get. The screen, the best you can get. Everything on this is the best you can get. And in the words of John Hammond from Jurassic Park, Samsung spared absolutely no expense. And of course, you get the 4,000 milliamp battery, which will keep this running all day. So please try to kill it. I don't really even think it's possible. So that's pretty much it. It's amazing, and I can't really discredit it in any way, shape, or form, other than the fact that it cost $1,000 plus tax to get one. So whatever that means to you, however you go about getting one, if you want one, you're not going to be disappointed in the least. And I think that you'll really enjoy the phone. I've enjoyed it a lot more than I'd like to, because I think I'll be stuck with this one. So that's all I've got. As always, thanks for tuning in. Please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, I always love to have those, so I can give you all some more insight, or get some feedback on the review, as well as any questions you have regarding the phone. So thanks again, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Note 9.